So this week I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into Fujifilm's color simulations, and not just the ones that kind of come stock on Fujifilm cameras like Eterna or Classic Chrome or Astia. I wanted to dig a bit deeper into experimenting with some actual color recipes. Color recipes are really just a fancy way of building your own and putting together your own film simulations. So I'm going to break down what a color recipe is, and really where you need to start is defining the difference between a JPEG and a RAW file. JPEGs are obviously a lot smaller of a file and can carry with them some baked-in characteristics that are catered specifically based off of the camera that you use. Now in Fujifilm's case, they have quite a few different varieties of JPEG color simulations that make Fujifilm very unique. Fuji's color simulations can actually hold their own when it comes to comparing them to actual film. Now, I do need to disclose that I myself don't shoot film. I've never had much experience with film. I only shoot digital primarily. Now, I have watched quite a few film photographer YouTubers, and they have actually said that Fuji's colors and Fuji's color science and color profiles are actually really unique and offer a very similar characteristic to actual classic film. So a Fuji color recipe is really just a way to take a stock Fuji color profile, make some tweaks with it to essentially build a completely different look, like Kodak Portra 400, which is going to be the look that we're going to be testing out today. Now the recipe that I'm going to be using today for Kodak Portra 400 is going to be based off of other creators' contributions to FujiXweekly, which is an app where creators, Fuji creators such as myself, can actually add and contribute particular recipes hearkening to traditional filmic styles. So today we're going to be testing out the Kodak Portra 400 color recipe and see how we like it. We've got a unique event lined up to shoot. It's actually an ice carving competition that's just outside of St. Louis proper that I'm going to be going to shoot. It's going to be cold, but it should be a good shoot to test out this color recipe. I'll be shooting with Fuji XT4 with my trusty 16mm 1.4, and I'm actually also bringing the 56 1.2. So that's going to be my kit. I've got my GoPro for some POV stuff. So let's get shooting. Let's try it out. Hey, Future Nate here. Sorry, I had to stop the video. I wanted to make just a quick point about the footage that you're going to be seeing during the ice carving shoot. The actual video footage, I'm not using the Kodak Portra 400 film recipe. I'm actually just using Classic Chrome. But yesterday, which is a few days from the time that I shot that video, I went out and got some stock footage using the actual Kodak Portra 400 film recipe on the video side of the camera, and I was super impressed with the footage straight out of the camera. I think that's actually going to be kind of my stock go-to 24p 30p film simulation for shooting video and shooting stock in particular, because the amount of grading that I need to do straight out of the camera now is like slim to none. So I'll go ahead and throw some of that video footage of the Kodak Portra 400 in the video as well, and I'll kind of tag it just so that you know the difference in what video footage you're actually looking at. All right, sorry to stop the video. We'll play again. Now, some of the things I noticed right off the bat were the blues. They definitely pop out of the picture, and the lowlights are brought up just a little bit to add that kind of fade, that old classic fade look. Another thing I noticed is that this filmic style really shines, pun intended, in bright lit environments. Another thing I noticed is it takes quite a bit longer for the buffer to clear when you snap a photo. Because all of that extra data is being written into the JPEG file, all of your customizations to the sharpness and the highlights and the lowlights and the color and the white balance, all of those things are customized based off of the classic Chrome profile to essentially build this recipe. Because all of those things are tweaked, it's going to take the camera just a little bit longer to buffer each photo to write all of that information into the JPEG. I wouldn't necessarily want to shoot high burst mode with a customized color recipe because the buffer takes probably 2 to 3 times longer to clear with each photo. I really liked the kind of faded pastel look. It really brought out the greens and the oranges and the blues in particular, which is something that I was really drawn to with this color recipe. So now I'll go ahead and walk you through how to build a customized color profile and how I went on to build the Kodak Portra 400 film recipe. So I went into FujiXweekly and pulled up the Kodak Portra 400 for the X-Trans sensor for the XT4. There's a couple different variations of the Kodak Portra 400. So make sure you choose the one that is in line with the camera model that you're using and the sensor that you're using. This particular color recipe uses the stock film simulation Classic Chrome to build off of the color recipe. When you select Classic Chrome, you're going to be making tweaks to that entire film simulation on the photo side of your camera settings. Once you're in the photo side of your camera and you've selected the appropriate Classic Chrome film simulation, you're going to make all of the rest of the adjustments in the IQ setting of your menu. Starting with dynamic range, I say that you can set it to either auto or dynamic range of 400. That would give you just a bit more recoverable data in the highlights and the lowlights. The next thing you're going to change is you're going to change both the highlights and the shadows. You're going to set the highlights to -1 and you're going to change the shadows to -2. Then you continue down to color and you're going to set color at +2 and your noise reduction at -4. You're going to be toning down the sharpening just a bit at -2 and upping the clarity to +2. The grain effect is something that I've actually never messed with, but for this particular film recipe, you're going to set it to strong, small, and then the color chrome effect to strong. Your color chrome effect blue, you're going to set to weak, and your white balance is going to be set to daylight with customized +3 on red and -5 on blue. I didn't necessarily set a limit on my ISO, so I typically will just keep that either in manual or auto mode. And I didn't necessarily adjust my exposure compensation either. Typically, I always just try to hover right around even exposure compensation. Now you can save all of these custom settings so that when you turn off your camera and you turn it back on, you don't have to go through making all of those changes again to your Classic Chrome profile. So on page 3 of the IQ menu, you're going to see a save or edit custom setting. And that's where you can actually go through renaming your custom setting, as well as saving it to slots 1 through 7. Now, after you've gone through and customized all of your profiles through slots 1 through 7, I've actually added the select custom setting to my own personal quick menu so that when I hit the menu button, it takes me right there and I can select whatever custom mode selections 1 through 7 that I'd like, and I'm off to the races. I don't have to make any more adjustments. Now, the last thing that's really cool is you can actually add the exact same customized profiles and color recipes to the video side as well. Now, I've customized my own quick menus in the video portion as well, and I've actually added Kodak Portra 400, but I haven't shot with it yet. But It's really good to know that just like you can build your own color recipes in the photo side of your camera, you can assign all of those properties the exact same way on the video side and actually be shooting in Kodak Portra 400 or whatever other color recipe that you'd like, which is really cool. Alright, well that's all for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you got some value out of it. Comment down below if you did. I'd love to interact with you. I've got to come up with a catchier way to make the ask. Like and subscribe. Anyways, you know what to do. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And thanks for checking out the video. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.